Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope y'all doing well. You know I got to check the audio real quick. Give me half a second, and we're going to go from there. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm tired. But that's an understatement. Let's hear how the audio level is going. All right, audio's good. Hey, folks, how you doing? AJay the CEO here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I was this close to canceling today's live stream, but then I realized I'm not going to be here next week, and then so I wouldn't have another Q&A until the 15th. So that's why I decided to go ahead and just push through it. Hope y'all are all doing well, folks. Do me a big favor, folks. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and hit the bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos. Yeah. So let's go ahead and holler at some folks here who are joining me today. Indy actually put a comment out there like 10 hours ago. So I don't know if they're still on the stream, but thank you for joining me super early. Parker Jennings, hello. Anthony Thompson, hello. Francisco, hello. Congratulations again, Francisco and Rosalind, on y'all's conference, the On a Mission for the Great Commission. Congratulations. They had a bunch of people. I think it was like, 15 countries represented on there. Very powerful. Angelo, hello. Mousy, good morning. Video streams, good morning. Hop Journey. Okay. Hey, Pastor Mark, hello. Mr. Clarence, hello. Lester, hello. Daniel, hello. Don, hello. Adam, hello. Like I told y'all thought I was joking. Sorry for, I ain't trying to be rude. I'm tired, folks. I'm tired. Streets of Destiny, hello. Darius, hello. I hope y'all are all doing well. I'm excited, folks. This time next week, I'll be in a strange land for me. So I'm excited. I'm taking my laptop to work to have some quiet time to write as many chapters as possible for the book, and hurry up and send it off to Amazon to get it created and all this other good stuff. But dude, I am so looking forward to a vacation. Actually, officially, I'm on vacation right now. So I have taken, D has set my schedule to where I'm not doing nothing for 7 days, and then going for where my conference would have been. I'm out for another 7 days. So I got 2 weeks to just relax. So no emails, no text, no Facebook. I will not be responding to anything for 2 weeks, folks. So we'll catch up with y'all. I think that's it. So let's go ahead and jump right. Oh, and also we have Josh's Ultimate Meme Showdown. This is 6 today. We're going to be streaming on a bunch of places. I am just concerned. I know Josh. I'm concerned about the music. So if we streaming at all these places, last thing I want is the stream to get shut down because of the music. So we'll see. Ray L, good morning from Las Vegas, where I was supposed to be, but hey, the conference got canceled, so that's cool. Let's go to Indy's question. Hey AJ, thank you for being you. Well, thank you. Okay, question. How do I output a true full screen from OBS? I am watching, my video comes from OBS and it does not fill up my entire monitor. Okay, that is very, very simple. Good morning, Ty Johnson. And it looks like there's an OBS update. I will do that once this is over. What am I doing? Need to make a scene here for OBS first. And let's do a capture. And I need to pick a device. There we go. All right, so this is pretty straightforward here. Screen am I on? 4. All right, so if we cut over here, and of course it's going on into infinity here. Let me shrink this so it doesn't get annoying here. The easiest thing with OBS for you to go full screen, you just got to right click in here, and then you have full screen projector. And I don't know if this is the right one. No, it's not. All you have to do is right click and pick the right monitor. And now this is the full screen of OBS. That's it. And hit escape to come out of it. And that's it. Really straightforward. Best way you do this is if you have like a secondary output, say like this output would be for a projector, TV, or something like that. And that's how you would do that. So very, very straightforward. Hope that helps. Let's see. What other questions y'all got, folks? You know, we here. Oh, and if I didn't mention it, yeah, I didn't because I've been rushing here. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, folks, please go ahead and join it. Hey, we have a lot of fun over there. I like swinging Mjolnir's hammer and banning people forever for doing silly stuff that's against the rules. Hey, like I said, that group is meant to help educate how we can better ourselves in media ministry. It's not a pole on the side of the street where you just put up whatever flyer you want. You put a flyer in there advertising your ministry with no context and you're just sharing it, you are banned. I had to ban 3 people this morning. Then somebody else was trying to sell some knockoff garbage equipment in there. You're banned too. And if you try to make any other new accounts, those are banned for life as well too. We ain't got no time for no foolishness, folks. We're trying to teach people how to be better at media ministry and using this platform, and you're spamming. That's what it is. That's why nobody is interested. If that's how you're advertising for your ministry, don't be mad. The reason why nobody's coming, because that's spam. We're trying to intelligently use the stuff that we got to reach more people, folks. Hope that helps. Daniel, make sure that's the next one I got here. Daniel is saying, bro, when I open Pro Presenter, the ATEM Mini Pro video input in vMix gets glitches. What do you mean by glitches? Is it like just fluctuating, like the image goes in and out? It could be the cable. It could be the resolution that's being sent. In the ATEM Mini, well, all of them, most of the time, unless you change it, it's set to auto detect whatever resolution, whatever device, whatever resolution it's connected to. Me personally, when I've had issues like that, I always set it to something like right now. My ATEM is, I always do everything at 1920 by 1080 at 60 frames a second. And like at Greater Works, their TVs couldn't support it, so I had to drop it down to 1080p at 24 frames a second. Let me know about that, and if you're here, give me some more details on what actually, it looks like you do have another comment up here, but I think it's just the same question. Yeah, I need some more details on that to help out with that one. Adam, big shout out to Adam. First off, thank you, Adam, for the comments. And if y'all are not a part of the Facebook group, man, Adam is a beast. If y'all saw how he did his stuff there at his ministry there, let me see if I can show it. Give a big shout out there to Adam, because I mean that thing was serious. Love it, love it, love it. Let's go here to the Facebook group. Where is Adam's post? Let's see, recent media. I think, is this yours, Adam? Yes, it is. All right, here it goes. Adam, like I said, he's a beast. So how he has this designed, these are actually like lifts for the TVs, which is awesome. And that's, oh, wait a minute, going back to his post here. Showed a little bit too much info right there, but I can't find it. But it was, y'all need to see it. I need to, maybe I can go through here and try and bring it up. And I missed it by 2 images. Yeah, here it goes. So very, very sick. So that just lifts up from behind That railing, that is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Adam, big shout out. That's really cool there. So again, thank you for sharing, man. That's awesome. I was talking to a couple of people about that. Um, Bishop Nesby, good morning. Anthony here. Anthony spoiling people with posting all these pictures of good food on Facebook. That's not fun unless you're sending me some. How can I use multiple phones with my streaming PC at 100 feet distance? NDI. That's the safest way to do it. It might be out of sync, but that's honestly the best way for that I can think of. And how many phones are you talking about as well? To tie here, and just as you wonder, my thumb is itching. I think like my skin broke out here or something. So just being clean, folks. If you see my hand like this, I'm scratching my thumb. As you can see, got a little eczema or dry skin or something going on. Ty here was saying, what goes into your decision to install SDI cable versus HDMI cable to connect cameras and or TVs? Distance, cost, ease of installation, what you have on hand. Honestly, a lot of it is all dependent on, I've been leaning a lot more towards the fiber HDMI cables, because when you start pricing in the SDI to HDMI converter, well, let me go back to the first thing. Most of the time, I would stick with SDI if I have a lot of cable that's available. And if I need it to be exposed, I have different color cable that makes it easy for where it's at. If I have any cable that ever needs to go outside, I always do SDI just because that's weather protected cable and it can go that way. But honestly, right now, it's from a simplicity standpoint, because coming from the PTZs, yeah, I can go SDI or HDMI, which either one works, but then I have to convert it at the back, and then back at the ATEM, I might have to convert it back to HDMI. Then that's an SDI to HDMI converter. They're $50 to $75 each. Then you need to have a surge protector for all the power. And honestly, I've been leaning more towards the fiber HDMI cables just from a simplicity standpoint. I would go with SDI only if the runs, some of these fiber cables can go up to 300 feet. I've never tested that. The highest I've tested is 150. Honestly, I used to always do SDI cable, but now that I've really messed with the fiber HDMI cables in my own setup as well as multiple, like honestly, the projectors I'm getting ready to change in my church, I was really looking at running fiber HDMI cables for those instead of getting the Ori HD Base T. I was really thinking about that, but when I started looking at the price and thinking about the simplicity of having to run more cables all the way in that distance, and I already had 3,000 feet of Cat 6 cable, that's why I went with that. So long drawn out answer, but that's the reason why. Stan, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you is. Back to Daniel saying that it does like a glitch effect, which we use for, that sounds like that might be a signal. Try and change the cable, or make sure that the ATEM actually has a set resolution output, match whatever your resolution input is for vMix. I would check those two things to see if you still get it. Monty, what is going on? Listening to while getting ready to get on the road to Maryland. Hey, well, safe travels there, Monty. Carriers of the Covenant, good morning, good morning. Back to Anthony. He was saying, my pastor wants to add maybe 2. I would say, honestly, the NDI stuff would be the easiest way, to be quite honest. Now, if you're connecting it to an ATEM, that might be different. Yeah, that's I don't know on that one. I have to think through that one. Shane and Hannah, hello. Just to let y'all know, like I said, we're going to be in Germany and Ireland this time next week. mainly in Ireland. I'm setting stuff in place to where we're going to be visiting a couple of cities in the UK. Maybe bounce around, mainly London, but that's what we have working next year. Thinking it's either going to be between January or March, something like that. Still in the planning phases, but we're looking forward to getting around and traveling and meet some more people that way. It's different countries as well too. Bishop Nesby here. Where can I find, or you recommend where I can find a longer mini HDMI USB? Mini HDMI USB. I am not familiar with that. Are you just talking about like an HDMI cable to something like this? Goes from HDMI to mini. Is that what you're talking about? Or you're talking about an actual USB cable? Let me know which one. Because honestly, I would just go with a fiber HDMI cable and then just get a converter that goes onto the end of it and convert it to whatever end that you need. That's what I would suggest, but I need to make sure I'm talking about the exact type of cable that you are referencing. Adam, again, fiber HDMI is a bomb. We are almost 100% fiber HDMI in the church now. Quality by removing converters have improved greatly. Awesome. And that's the only other thing. When you have the converters, they work great, but you're adding another piece that can possibly fail. Now, granted, I've been running mine at my church for 7 years, and I haven't had any issues. But I also have to run power to a certain place and all this other stuff like that. I still do it if I don't have an option at all to convert it. Like some of the cameras, like right now that I'm thinking about it, we have the ADA imaging camera that's HDMI, but we convert it to SDI. I could probably just run a fiber cable for that and completely get rid of the converter that I have to have in a drop ceiling for that camera. So yeah, it does make a lot of stuff simpler, but it's like just tech has just gotten so much better that the things you used to have to do, you just don't have to do anymore, which is good because that's advancement. Paul, what is the best way to get audio from a guitar amp to main mix for live streaming? Honestly, I need to know what device are you using. The main thing is, you would just run, if you're coming from an amp, depends on the amp, but the most time they have like a main line out that can run over. So you can just run a long XLR cable, 1/4 inch cable. You can convert it over to Ethernet and send it, shielded Ethernet, send it all the way back and convert it back. There's a bunch of ways you could do it, but I need some specifics on the stuff that you're using. All right, so we got Tim and Roger are helping out Anthony. That's what this group is about. Awesome. Thank you for that. Francisco, are there any restrictions on fiber HDMI cable being bent? Yeah, you don't want to bend them. It can bend somewhat, but you don't want to do a lot of heavy bending because I'm thinking they probably have plastic or something like that inside of that that's sending their signal over there, and you wouldn't want to damage that. But that's almost any cable. You don't want to bend too much with that. All right, Anthony, cool. Yeah, send that to me, and I will check that out. Back to Shane and Hannah. We use vMix for streaming and YouTube recording. Okay. And last week we looked back at the recording and realized that it buffers constantly through the whole recording. Why would this be, and what would be the cause? When you're saying it's buffering, I would see what's the CPU utilization as well too. Is that what's causing the buffering? Do you have that vMix? Is that leveraging the GPU for the streaming and recording at the same time? I would check something like that. G. Albert, hello. Nicholas, what's the best way to run my video from the computer in the tech booth to 2 TVs to display lyrics and graphics. HDMI splitter. Yes, actually, I've upgraded my splitters to this. Hold on one second. First, you will want to make sure that both of the TVs have support the exact same resolution and frame rate. Like we've been talking about it, I would go with, depending on how far away it is, go with some fiber HDMI cables. And then I have just upgraded the splitters behind my TV. I mean, because I have 2 monitors, but then all of my monitors are with 3 monitors, and all of them are going into the ATEM, so I duplicate the screen for each of them. And I just do that by just having just a simple HDMI splitter, 1 in, powered, 2 out, and that's what's behind each one of my monitors. And I would something like this. I mean, I bought 3 of these, and they were like $12 each, and they work great. And that's what I would think. Especially, this is actually for Glen Allen Baptist Church, because they're kind of doing the same thing. They need to run to the 85-inch screen TV I hung, as well as their projector that needs to be converted back to VGA. If I can get in their attic and run a fiber HDMI cable up there, and that's coming out of the ATEM. So I would say that's the easiest thing. I mean, because anything else, then you would have to you can use over Ethernet and convert them back. That works as well too. You got a couple of options. I mean, you can always go SDI, but at this point, fiber HDMI has pretty much, for me, has been like, hey, it's stable enough to where I've used it, and I think it's fine. Excuse me. Bishop Nesby here. Yes, that one. I'm using a Sony Handycam as my second camera with the ATEM Mini Pro, and to capture the band. Okay. Oh, this is communications going back and forth. All right. Ricky, shout out from the Bahamas. Hello. Josh, I sent the message to you. Need some more details on the Ultimate Meme Showdown and stuff like that. I posted your video, uploaded your video to my channel from the For Me conference. Josh, I got hit with some copyright strikes on the music, so I'm gonna have to edit your stuff. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what's on. I need to know the details. How are we co-hosting? Who's the main thing? And all this other stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, folks. That will be on here, Facebook, a bunch of places all at the same time. So I don't know what Josh has got up his sleeve, but I'm sure it's going to be good. Vaughn, thank you again for your recommendations. I was on the hunt for switchers, ATEM, AV Matrix, Live, L1, etc. Ended up finding a used ATEM Mini for $300 in Canadian. Good so far. Awesome. Glad it's helping. Hey, you are welcome, and thank you so much. Back to Paul. The guitar amp has a stereo out, 2 quarter-inch jacks left and right. I've tried to connect the stereo output to the main mix, but the sound was coming from the main mix was soft. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, I'm more of the one of, I like just everything being centralized. You could run that directly into your switcher or your computer or whatever, and then you would just have to balance it out. Make sure you don't have any type of gates or anything on that input that's coming from there. I guess you always could put a small 3-channel mixer that can crank up the audio and send the output from that back. I think that's kind of overkill, but I mean, that could work. So I think that's about it. Back to Adam here. Fiber HDMI 20 AWG allows you a 2-inch bend radius, while a 24 AWG allows a 3-inch radius instead. You should absolutely avoid bending or changing direction with a bend radius that's less than 10 times the outside diameter of the cable. I would completely agree. Thank you. Back to G. Albert here. AJ, I'm in South Carolina for about a month. Pastor and others from the media team want me to remote in to do some type of live chat with them. Any recommendations? Some recommendations, Google Remote. Yeah, Google Chrome Remote would work. I mean, that, Google Meet, Zoom, any of that, I think would work in that type of situation. Shane and Hannah want to know, where would I look for that type of information? Let me see. Do I have vMix on this computer? Yes, I do. And I know it's behind. So let me see if I can. Let's take a trip through vMix land. All right. So let me resize this. And yes, that is the moon on my desktop there. Let's see what we can find in here. Settings. All right, so we have performance first. You can check off here and then check off show GPU and CPU alerts first. And let's see what else we get. Yeah, make sure you have that off and then see what it tells you here at the bottom. Similar to kind of like OBS would show you what your utilization, and of course it needs to close to do an update. It will tell you down here what your usage is, and that I would check that first. Shane and Hannah, just check that and make sure that's all on, and then go from there. To at least try and get some stuff. Robert would like to know, can you recommend a brand? Honestly, I would just show you the ones that I use, because that's what I use for the studio camera behind me, and I've just been using them all the time. Let me, I am on Amazon, so I can show you the exact ones that I've used, and that would be these. So you see my list of a new project that we got coming up, but these are the ones that I have. I will have a link to them. I've ordered 30, 50, 75, 100, 125, and 50. I have not done a 200 and a 300, but that is coming soon. But this is the brand that I've used, and you see the last time I purchased it, it was on the 12th. So I will put a link to that in the description. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. And also a follow-up question to that was, and in your opinion, is it better than a Cat 6 extender? Honestly, I would say yes, because out of the extenders that I've used, I mean, sometimes they can be finicky. They can pick up interference. Somebody steps on it, somebody bends it. It could fluctuate that signal. I've put them in some very tough situations, and they have been rock solid. Like if you saw the work that I was doing at Greater Faith, that one was getting kind of problematic. But when I switched it out, it's just been rock solid. So and honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that cable would honestly probably be cheaper than the materials that you need to run it with an HDMI extender over Cat 6 or something like that. And it's you don't have to introduce any pieces as well. You don't need power, nothing. It's just a cable. So yes, I am really liking that more. Indy, you are welcome. Mike was saying I started bright and early. Honestly, I actually canceled the live stream, but then 5 minutes later I put it right back up because I said I wasn't going to do it, and then I was like, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks before, because next week I'm not going to be able to do one anyway. So, yeah. But you ain't missed much, man. Back to Robert. I'm having trouble with port 1 of the ATEM switcher when using honestly, the ATEMs, for whatever reason, it seems like they use something different for the input number 1 on all of their switchers for some odd reason. Personally, see if you can get one of these fiber cables to get rid of the extender and see if you still have an issue. That's what I would probably say. Back to Parker. We have 1 key for vMix for our church. Can we put that key on multiple computers? You can put it on 2. That's what I have. I have 1 on my laptop, and I have 1 on the system that's running vMix right now. So you're seeing that, and it works like that. Vaughn. Audio question, part 1. Our live stream audio comes from the X32 via USB to our computer, mixed with a DAW Reaper, then back to OBS. Works great, but I want to move the audio mixing to another room. Okay. And then part 2. Otis, what's going on? Otis, your comment came in between these. How would I run that? Extend USB to the room, then back? I've heard a lot about getting everything on the Dante network, but haven't really seen it in use. Any thoughts? From a Dante standpoint, Otis is probably going to be the right person for that, or the Chuck Taylor about that. Now, if you want to go gangster like I normally would, you could use some balins like this. This is a USB balun that will turn regular USB into Ethernet. You get a couple of these. These are like $10. You could try that. This has worked for me when I was doing the gaming and stuff like that. Recording football games, I would have this connected to the scoreboard and send this over to my computer that was in a completely different area. Worked fine for me. This has worked with printers, all this other stuff like that. You could try that if it's just purely USB. Again, I'm not familiar with the Dante stuff because in my setup, I mean, I'm still trying to do something like that, but I'm just thankful to get the projectors. My last hurrah, if there was one last thing for me to do, because I've almost replaced everything in my church, is to switch out and go to like a X32 or some type of equivalent board that way. That's what I want to do. I don't know if they're ready for that, but that's the last thing I think I want to push, because at this point, like I said, everything in our media booth in our church has been completely gutted and replaced. Josh was saying, we'll send graphics tonight in Slack, your choice if you want to air the memes now tonight. No, actually, like I said, I was going to cancel this, Josh, so I'm not really prepared. We can just do all the memes tonight. I think that would be better. G. Albert, AJ, in the past, when we were totally virtual, we used SY to broadcast, StreamYard to broadcast to Facebook and YouTube. Now that we are blended, any recommendations to view remotely from the ATEM switcher or presenter? Gotta think through that one. Excuse me. You could do kind of a hybrid, but it's not going to be in time. You could get like one of these Raspberry Pis and have it stream, do the multi-streaming. Yeah, I got to think through that one. Mr. Clarence wants to know, have you tested simultaneously SDI and HDMI and or streaming on the PTZ at the same time? Yes, I have. I've actually ran USB, SDI, and HDMI all at the same time. HDMI has been more flexible with the resolution. Some of the cameras, like the PTZ optics, the ADA imaging, all of them come out of the output at the exact same time. Some of these other ones, they do come out at the same time, but you have to be careful of the resolution. So some of them can't do 1080p 60 frames a second or 5994 off of the SDI, but the HDMI can. You might need to turn it down, but yes, I've ran all of them at the exact same time, and without just with that one stipulation on some of the cameras, you have to be mindful of. I think like the AV cans is one. Actually, the AV cans and the SMT AVs. The Famacos I have not had. Well, the Famacos haven't been an issue, but they don't support image out over USB. Excuse me. Ty here. Keep in mind that fiber HDMI communicates in one direction, I believe. So yes, you have, it's only one direction. That's why I think I called that out on a couple of videos, that you have a source and you have the display. You put them backwards, it don't work. So be mindful of that. Back to Shane and Hannah, looking at the specs there. Running at 1080p, 2997. 15%. That's kind of high from a usage standpoint. I mean, is that during your stream or is that what it is right now? Detoxing for life. Hey, Jay, what do you recommend for on a church budget running OBS, A10 mini switcher, and PTZ camera for live streaming? A desktop, laptop, or laptop is too slow? Honestly, so you're saying the A10 mini or any A10 mini switcher? Because the base is $295. You throw in another $200, the A10 mini Pro can live stream for you. Honestly, I was just telling my brother-in-law this. I really don't even recommend the A10 mini Pro anymore, unless you're doing a lot of stuff at home and you don't need to have that HDMI out be broadcasted to anybody. You can just have it as a multi-view. That's the only time I would recommend it. Because if you're using one at the church, now you have to decide between the multi-view or the HDMI out, or then if you're still sending a signal to the sanctuary, you're using the USB and converting it some type of way, which still works as long as your computer's fast enough to handle that. From a budget standpoint for that, because I'm actually getting ready to do something similar to Fellowship Church of Christ in Lynchburg, I'm using the A10 Mini Pro, A10 Mini Extreme. So I would knock off $500 for that one. But I think the A10, a camera, joystick, and you can get a decent laptop that can handle that, from a gaming laptop for around like $850. So I would think all of that combined, you're right at $3,500 to $4,000. That's what I would think. But again, the laptop wouldn't need to be used for streaming. It can just be used for presentation software. So you really don't need a high-end laptop. The laptop just needs to be able to run the ATEM software to tell it where it needs to stream to. So, ATEM Mini Pro, $500. Camera, $700, $750, something like that. So you can get it as low as maybe right at $2,000. But again, I personally would go with an ATEM Mini Extreme. That would be $1,000. Throwing in another camera and the joystick and stuff like that, you're right at around $2,800 to $3,500 in that range. Bryant, is the picture quality using fiber HDMI cable as good as SDI cable? For the novice, you ain't noticing the difference. For example, what y'all are seeing from this stream, it's kind of hard for me to do that because I'm running SDI into the web presenter. That's what y'all seeing right now. But I have a fiber cable on the camera right behind me. And I haven't noticed a difference at all. So I probably need to turn some more light on so you can see me better here. But I don't know. I don't think it's noticeable, to be quite honest. I don't think. And I think that's way too much light for me. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only people, yeah, that's the only thing I think. Michael, you're reading my mind. Have you found out about Starlink? Starlink supposedly went official out of beta today. And my plan in this is to get one and take it to my uncle's house who lives out in Gladys, Virginia, where they have nothing out there except for a bunch of ripoffs and all this other stuff like that. My plan, and it's still not, it doesn't say it's a beta anymore, but it's not available in that area in Gladys. What I plan to do is get one of them, and I want to take them to one of these, because you see tons of people doing reviews on Starlink. My specific one, just like this channel, I'm going to get one so that I can review this to some of the churches that are in these rural areas with no internet at all and let them see the difference between them. Can we live stream with them? Just like Mount Pleasant that I just finished in Alta Vista. Their DSL is slower than my cell phone. If I come out there and I set up one of these Starlinks, can we live stream with it? That, I think that would be the test, and I'm looking forward to doing something like that. So be on the lookout for that. But right now in my area in Virginia, I can pre-order it, but it's not available. They're talking about mid to late 2021. So I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going to do with it. Brian Jones. Hello, greetings all. Again, I'm sorry for yawning. I'm just like, y'all think I'm joking. I'm just tired. I'm tired. And out of habit, even when I go to sleep early, I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, can't go to sleep, or no matter what, I always wake up at 6:30. So that's why I'm hoping this time change is going to force me to sleep a little bit longer. Back to detoxing for life. Me personally, I'm a desktop person because it will last. You can upgrade it over time. Laptop is if you really, really, really want to have a laptop, then go with it. Me personally, I would do a desktop. That's just me. Robert. Hey, thanks for all you do. Hey, you're welcome. Interested in what you're using to display the comments on the screen? That is vMix and vMix Social that is doing all of that. Back to G. Albert. Not sure if I asked this before. We don't have the manpower to manage 2 Sony video cameras, soundboard, and ATEM. I'm thinking that we should plan a budget transition to PTZ solution. Thoughts? That's exactly the reason why I moved mine at my church, for that reason. We used to have somebody dedicated to the 2 cameras, the video switcher, our audio, and our presentation. We don't have that anymore. So now it's still a juggle, but we can run everything one person if need be. We can't have all the bells and whistles, but that one person can unmute the mics if need be. We're not talking about somebody dedicated to sound, because if we had a second person, the second person would be dedicated to sound, but they would jump between sound and presentation stuff, because the presentation stuff is not, we don't present a lot throughout the service. So that's not something that needs to be maintained the entire service. But then somebody else is on the camera. One person can do that. I've trained one person to do that. That's what I do if I'm the only one there, because I'm using the preset positions for our PTZ where it's just a button press to move everything, switch over to a camera so nobody sees that, and then we're literally only putting up, we're not really putting up hymns to where everybody's singing with everybody. It's mainly scripture. And if we do announcements, which we haven't done in I don't know how long, I don't know why we haven't. Let me keep my thoughts to myself on that one. But yeah, that's the reason why we moved to it. I think it's it's still going to be a juggle, but it's going to be a lot easier to maintain because everything is right in the vicinity. So I think that's a good move. Back to Parker. Oh yeah, before I even go any further, folks, hey, please make sure that you hit that like button. Hit the subscribe and hit that bell, that way you get notified. It sounds like it's really, a lot of YouTubers say that, but honestly, it really does mean a lot. I think if I look, should I do the classic that what people do on YouTube? Let me show you the back end, some stuff, and I want to give you just an example of what I am talking about and why that is so important. I'm gonna go to analytics, and I'm gonna scroll down. Where is it at? I guess I need to go in here more often so I can actually show you this number. All right, yeah, here it goes. Let me show you this. This is why this is important. Why a lot of YouTubers ask you to do this stuff. Here's my analytics right here. So if I go here to my watch time, out of the people who watch, 67% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. Only 32% of the people who watch are subscribed. That's why that's important. You know, it really does help. Because if a lot of people are seeing it, they're getting use out of it. But another statistic, this is for your church stuff as well too. This is why you ask, if you're on YouTube with your ministry, ask people to subscribe as well as like. It helps a lot because it helps push this out, because it's one thing to say, hey, a lot of people are liking it. That's great. But then it looks even better when people are really liking it and they're subscribing to it. And it looks better when somebody's liking, subscribing, and turning on the bell, and sharing, and commenting. Each phase actually promotes your channel to reach more people. So again, that's the reason I'm asking. So please, we will appreciate if you go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't, and then turn on bell notifications, because it will help notify YouTube, hey, something good is going here, and it will put it out in front of more people. All right, so let me go back to Parker here. If we put the vMix key on another computer and we change our minds, can we take the key off and put it on another? Yes, you can just deactivate the key from your account on vMix's website, and you can move it anywhere you want to. So yes, like when I got my old laptop, I had to do that to move the other key to my new laptop. So yes, that is very easy to do. Well, thank you so much there to Detoxing for Life. I really, really appreciate it. Robert wants to know, how do you get your cameras to match colors if they are different models? Honestly, this is why I'm still learning. That's why I've migrated all of my cameras to Blackmagic stuff, and most of the stuff is the image quality exactly the same. You got to dial that thing in. Do a white balance or dial them in every day before you use them. That's the only way, really, to match them. Shane and Hannah, yes. So wait a minute. So you're saying those specs that you sent me is when it was streaming and recording. Okay, so if it's using 64% of your total system requirements, that's kind of high. Because again, I don't know what else is running in the background. Antivirus, Windows by itself does use up. I mean, that's a bit. Like, I think right now, if I look at mine right now, my system that's running right now is using 12% of everything right now of my specs right now. I don't know. Like I said, streaming is a very intense process. And that's why, like, when I do this stuff, I don't use that system for nothing else. Like, if you look at some of my other videos when I was streaming on here and I was just trying to change an image, just the system just acted funky. Like, I start a stream, I do not touch the system at all, because it's delicate with everything that's going on, especially doing here. So that's the only thing I would think. You might want to try and see what is the recording bit rate and quality that you're using for your recording as well as your stream. It could be that the system you're sending a lot of data that's trying to stream and record at the same time. Might want to check that as well too. Otis, you know me well enough that right there, that's the devil. I do not do that coffee stuff. No, sir. Back to G. Albert. AJ, with your ATEM controller, can you show us how to show picture-in-picture with media pool plus one of the camera views? Is that what you are doing to bring in the comments? No, actually, this is all in vMix. What vMix is doing is bringing in this chat box and layering it over top. None of this is done inside the ATEM. The only thing you see in the ATEM, I might do a picture-in-picture of me when I'm showing my connections, but the graphic that you're seeing right here, that's all in vMix. Now, technically, you could do it in the ATEM. I just don't do it that way because you would need to send the output from OBS or vMix into an input on the ATEM with like a black background, a similar or a green screen or whatever, similar to just like lower thirds, and then you would do a DSK to bring that in. I mean, I could do that, but again, for me, I would be like, why? When I can just do it this way, because I don't need to see the comments. And if I was doing this at church, I would think you could do that, but that would put the comments on the screen. And that would be a good way to bring in if somebody has comments and people are addressing the comments of the live stream in a service. You would do it. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I might have to think about doing that in a way. But that's why I don't do it that way. All I do is just say, hey, I have comments, pull from here, vMix Social. I pick the layout of the text, and then I press a button, and it brings it up, or I press the button and takes it away. So all of this is all in vMix. Rhonda, who is sending me? Oh, that's somebody special sent me something there. Rhonda, I think Starlink is tied to the address for the satellite connection. Not sure you can use it mobile, as you said, at least not currently. I'm waiting for mine in Louisiana County. Well, actually, the people at Now You Know, it's a channel that I watch on YouTube. They actually did that. They took their Starlink and they drove like 2 states away, and it still worked. So hopefully it still stays like that. But yeah, worst case scenario, I'm gonna take it, just see if it works. If it does, hey. If it doesn't, hey, that works as well too. But that's why I'm gonna have it registered at my mom's address, because she's kind of out there as well too. And I would love to get rid of Comcast for her and have it like that as well too. But we'll see. That's where we get the tech. Take the tech and push it to the limits. Carriers of the Covenant. What are your thoughts about the PTZ AVR DL30 auto tracking distance learning camera? Honestly, I have not delved into that. I do not know. DL30 PTZ. Yeah, I have not looked into that, but Aver, if you want to send one to me, hey, I'd love to check it out. It looks like it's powered by Intel. Hands-free AI auto tracking. Y'all can't see it. Hold on a second. Here. Seems interesting. But it only has a 20x optical zoom, though. And it's only USB. I don't know. 20x only USB. It is PoE at $900. That, I don't know. For me, that seems a little steep. Seeing how you can get some other stuff out of that. So I don't know. Distance learning. Yeah, well, this is going for like $900. So I don't know. For me, that's a little steep. But if you got a use for it, I think it'd be cool. But that 12x zoom is kind of close. We'll see. To Mike, the chime change will help or it will knock you out completely. You got this. Hey, the good thing is I don't have nothing to do. So I'm, like I said, the only thing I'm really going to be doing is reading and working on the book, writing the outline, finishing up the stuff to get my thoughts together with that. And I was getting ready to say, I had a thought and I just forgot it. I'll remember in a second. Kenneth here. AJ, as part of of church live streaming, have you ever heard of having to have a signed document from people attending church services stating that they may be seen? Yes, actually, that's a sign that by law, at least in Virginia and a bunch of other places, you need to put up to say, just like if you have security cameras, you have to put that up, saying that people will be recorded. And I don't know if it's a signed document, but I think if you go to any other place that has security cameras, there is a sign that says, by you being present, you're consenting to be on this. But again, that is something else you need to be mindful of. Like, there's some people that have adopted kids or something like that, and they can't be on video because they'll be seen and they could be tracked. They could be hidden from play. Yeah, there are some lots of stuff that you need to have in place and you need to be mindful of it. I don't know about a signed document, but I know a sign needs to be put up to say that, and that puts the onus on whoever the person is to tell the media, hey, I can't be on the camera and stuff like that for whatever reason. So be mindful of that. Indy, wow, you actually went ahead of me showing what I do, and now I'm not to click to go live until I want to. Fancy, I love it. Yes. Okay, cool. Back to Bishop Nesby. What's the best way to get good audio from a DSLR into your live stream audio interface, and how do I connect it? I wouldn't pull audio from the DSLR. I would use maybe like a shotgun mic or something separate, because most of the DSLR audio isn't good unless you have like a shotgun mic or you have a better microphone system on the DSLR. But I wouldn't into the live stream audio interface for the board. And how do I connect? Let me read this again. Maybe I read into this wrong. What's the best way to get good audio from DSLR into the live stream? Yeah, I would run the audio. I wouldn't pull audio from the camera at all. I would use maybe the camera just as a mount, use one of the cold shoes or something like that to hold a microphone that's connected directly to your X32. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't pull audio. Like even now, I could pull audio from any of my mics, any of my cameras, but I'm not. I'm using a separate audio system completely. And I think that's the benefit of, if you already have a sound system that has mics, use those instead of using your camera, because your house sound is going to be much better than anything that you pull from your camera. Unless you're putting like a lavalier and it's directly on your person, you'll hear them clearly, but you won't be able to hear nothing else. That's just my thoughts on that. Anybody else in the chat, what y'all think about that? Back to Ty. How long do you support guarantee your installs, and do you build post-installation support into your pricing? Honestly, I have liability insurance, so any of the stuff that I buy, I don't cover that stuff. I have them, if they want warranty, I give them everything that I purchase. They can go buy extended warranties if they want to. But again, most of the time, y'all realize if you buy TVs and stuff, if you really, really read the fine print, if you put this stuff in a church, most of the warranties are null and void. They're really meant for a house, and you need to get like commercial grade stuff that have extended warranties, and they charge an arm and a leg. And to be quite honest, as cheap as it is, like I just don't buy $150 warranty on a TV when I can just take that $150 and add another $200 and buy another TV. That's just me. But for me, the computers I support mostly for the life of them, as long as people aren't doing something stupid like, oh, you just poured coffee into the computer and it's not working. No, I don't support that. Oh, acts of God, you didn't use a surge protector even though I asked you, or I provided one and you removed it and it got fried and it nuked the whole computer. No, I don't cover that either. Installations, my liability insurance normally covers all of that. If you have any issues from a support standpoint, you don't even pay until my stuff is done. And then I haven't had anybody do support because most of the time I train them, and out of all the installs, I've never really had any. I've had one person call me back because an electrical issue, it was a grounding issue that was not my fault, that fried, it was actually Union Grove that fried their SDI splitter that I had in the back. That wasn't me, but I did replace it. Excuse me. So I don't know. Long about story. I haven't had anybody do that, but for the most part, I'm ready to do that if anybody asks for it. But I mean, out of the people I've had, they've been comfortable with everything I've installed, and I haven't had any issues with any. Like I think my sister and brother-in-law's church, they were the second church I ever did. I got called with them because their power supply died for a computer that I built, but that thing has been running for 6 years. So a power supply dying after 6 years, I mean, it's somewhat understood, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I dragged it too much of a question, but I mean, that's me. Let me see where we're at. Paul, what is the minimum mics that I can mic a drum set? What is the minimum mic that I can set? And what mic should I use? Kind of don't know a brand off the top of my head, but I mean, for me, I would assume as the musician part of me, you'll want the kick, the bass, the snare, your hi-hat, that's 3, and your toms. I mean, you pretty much want to mic each one, but the minimum, you would at least want the snare, the kick, and a mic that can pick up like an overhead, I would probably say. So maybe 3, I would think. Anybody else? What y'all thoughts on that? DJ Evergreen, have you ever recommended Proclaim by Faith Life as presentation software? You use it. We use it at our church, and it works great. Honestly, I've used it a couple of times, but the only times I've used it, it's been the older versions that were just horrible. I've played around with it, but not that in depth. I honestly just lean towards Worship Extreme Presenter because it's free, and then that gets people's feet wet, and then by the time they mess around with it, they'll know, can it fulfill their needs, or at least they're prepared before they go into something else, and it doesn't cost anything. I have a couple of people who have used Proclaim, and they're very, very happy with it. I'm not really negative on anybody's stuff. If it works for your ministry, hey, that's great. So I might need to dabble with it some more so I have a fair assessment of the different offerings of the software so I can give it a recommendation for them. Vinod wants to know, is there any way to display comments in live stream in OBS? Yes, I used to do it. I just used to use a capture the screen of the comments from YouTube. Individually, there is H2R program that you can download, but I think it still only captures YouTube. It doesn't do Facebook comments. I think Andy, I keep forgetting his name, but he has a bunch of videos on it. Let me see. H2R graphics. I think there's a couple of people in here that actually use that as well too. Not Andy, Aaron. I would recommend this guy right here. He does a lot with that graphic stuff, H2R, and he's written some custom stuff that can do that as well too. So I will put a link to his channel, and if you say anything, tell him that AJay sent you. AJay the CEO sent you. All right, where are we at? What's the best PC specification for live stream? That's subjective, but me personally, I like the Ryzen 5 1600 CPU, 16 gigabytes of memory, and then any type of graphics card because that processor is fast enough to encode itself. But you could get a used 1050 Ti NVIDIA card, and that would be more than enough for live streaming. I mean, honestly, if you can find a 750, that would be good. Because any of the other graphics cards are just kind of out of control from a price standpoint. But that's mainly it. I I'm not an AMD fanboy. I just think Intel stuff is trash. But supposedly the newer chips are finally putting some competition to AMD. So we'll see. But for right now, the Ryzen 5 1600, you can get that chip for $130 to $150. 16 gigs of memory, you can get for $60. Motherboard, you can get for around like $70. So right there, that's around $350. And then you can do just a NVIDIA GT 710 if you just need a graphics card and just push everything on the processor, and it works fine. That's what I use at my church. And actually, let me show you. I'll remote into that one so y'all can actually see the specs of that system. So you see I'm not making stuff up here. Let's get rid of the comments. We're going to go over here to my live streaming system at church. Okay, I want to go full screen. There we go. So if I go here to the specs of the system. So yeah, we're at, well actually I recently updated this. I forgot I had this processor left over. This was actually a damaged one that I actually bent the pins back, but it's the 2600X, 16 gigs of memory, and then from a graphics card, we're using a GT 730, and that's what's handling everything. So it's the exact same specs. I mean, actually the 730 you can't even find anymore. I got them on a deal from Newegg, but they work perfectly fine. Originally, it used to be a Ryzen 5 1600. I had that chip. That was actually in my Hackintosh, my Ryzen Tosh. I took that processor out, put that one at my church, and then I took the Ryzen 5 1600 out of that one, and I donated that to another ministry. So, yay. Yes, it is. It's the PC Christian version of what some other people would call it. Let's see here. Hello, AJ. Let me first start by thanking you so much for what you do. Hey, you're welcome. I recently started live streaming for my local church, and I'm having challenges since my laptop is low end. I need some advice. Advice on... Oh, I don't see I have a comment. Let me know what need advice on. Oh, we got, there you go, Otis dropping in as well, too. If you're streaming and recording at the same time, you need at least 32 gigs of RAM, GPU 8 to 11 gigabytes of VRAM, and a CPU of at least 4 gigahertz. Hey, Otis is a man. I agree. Adam said, actually, let me try something here to address what you're saying. Cancel my shutdown over here. Isn't OBS 2711 is supposed to have the YouTube integration that you can bring in comments? I don't know, but let's go ahead and check it out because I'm still logged into my church system here. And let's see. Does it do an update? Let's update that. This is the advantage, folks, of having remote Chrome desktop on your computers. And don't shut the computer off. That's me. I got everything on surge protectors at church, so if anything happens, I can always flip it off, need be. Now we need to see, what do they have in here? All right, so we got our starting soon. I changed up our new starting soon here. Let's see what other features they got in here. Don't see anything mainly from here. Let's see the settings. if they do have integration, I don't know where it be at. Yeah, I don't know. If they had the integrations, I have no idea where it would be. So yeah, I don't know. That I do not know. So we'll see if I just set ourselves up by upgrading to this without testing it. But oh well, we'll figure it out. Carriers of the Covenant wants to know, is there a PTZ with auto tracking that's under that? I don't believe so. I mean, there is a what's that? There is a webcam. I think Monty uses it as well too. Yeah, the OBS bot. I would try something like this. He actually has had this, Monty. I haven't. Check this out. This is just a PTZ webcam, kind of small, but it can do that type of stuff. I mean, I've heard good things about it. I personally have not used one. So I'm thinking that may work. But again, this is going to be connecting directly to your OBS or whatever you're using to stream, just like a webcam. So, and that's just $200. I think you can try something like that. How can I run OBS and ProPresenter on different PC? That is easy. I actually have a video showing how you would probably want to use NDI. ProPresenter has NDI built into it anyway. You would turn on NDI to do an output, make sure the NDI plugins are in OBS and it's on the same network. OBS will just see that input. And I actually have a video about that. Let me see. Where it be at? All right, here it goes. And actually, that's cool. It actually went to my website instead of YouTube. So for that, it would be in this video. I'm going to be walking you through. It would be this video. Let's see. How to display on-screen lyrics and scripture from any presentation program in OBS. Complete guide. I'll put a link to that, and that will help you. So hopefully that works. Computers. Hey folks, and also if I'm not able to get to your question, know that you can always hit me up at, I'm saying this now, that you can hit me at questions@ajhomes.com. But since I'm technically off today, you will not get a response until the 15th of October. So you can still hit me up, but you may get an answer while I'm still in the States, but for the most part, you won't. I'll respond back on the 15th. So, Rhonda, wants to know, any thoughts on the Roland V1 SDI gigabit switch? Let me look that one up. And I'm just being honest. I'm so spoiled from the Black Magic stuff. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this switcher before. And in all honesty, in comparison, I think it's overpriced. Just for what you can get now. If you still have it right now, I mean, I'm not knocking that, but if you're looking to buy it, I would say no, because if that's going for $1,500, you only have 4 inputs. You have audio in, the RCA only, and audio out. You have a multi-view. You have a program and program preview window out over SDI and USB. So you don't have an encoder. You don't have anything. This is still going to require a computer for it to be used. I don't believe... I mean, you have some effects, but I just think in the grand scheme, I mean, from what this looks like it offers, you can get the AJay Mini Pro that does the exact same thing, minus this gives you 2 separate outputs compared to the AJay Mini. But I'm just saying, at $1,500, you can get yourself the AJay Mini Extreme and still save yourself $500. That's just me. But I personally have not touched that as well. Back to Paul. What is the best camera to use for live stream low budget? What's your opinion? Still the lowest one, as long as you have good lighting, is the Canon R800. Is a good one. Goes for $250. And then after that, I mean, it's still the Panasonic. And then ultimately, I still recommend, if you really want a camcorder, would be the Canon G50, but that's right at $1,100. Oh, here he is, the Chuck Taylor. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Chuck is going to be one of the co-hosts, as well as Mike for the meme Ultimate Showdown. Streets of Destiny. I want to use an image of a scripture as a background, but the person speaking in front in OBS, like a virtual background in Zoom. Is that possible? Yes. The person would need to be in some type of green screen. So like, for example, let's see, can we do it live? Let's see if we can do this live. So you want to have this, but then have a scripture in the background. So we doing this live, folks. So we'll see if we can get this done. So I'm going to take, well, no, I got presenter. Why don't we just use that? But I mean, even though this, it could be an image, it doesn't matter. And again, they're doing another update on presenter. Okay. But that didn't take that long to install. So I need to crop out that corner because I can't bring this super close. Or maybe I can. This thing would have to be like right up on me to do this, but we shall see. See what we can do. All right, so I need to change the screen that I'm using for this screen configuration. I want to change that to, all right, so I'm on that screen, and let's bring up a Bible scripture and a background. Let's do the 100 Psalm. Can we do that? The scripture does not exist. Oh, because they added some stuff here. Hold on. There we go. All right, so if I launch this, and if I cut over to this, this is what's going to be in the background. All right. So let's go back over to our ATEM software. Let me actually put this on a different screen so it's easy to do this. We cut over to number 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the right screen be my main source, because that's where the image is coming from. That presenter or your static image or whatever you can do would be in your background. We're going to do our platelets, palettes, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to do upstream key 2 because upstream key 1 is doing the picture-in-picture that you're seeing right now. So we're going to come here. What am I going to use? I'm going to do a chroma key. My source is going to be my front camera right here. I'm going to do a preview to pick the green that's behind me, the brightest position possible. So maybe right here. All right. And that's it. And we're going to turn this on once we switch back. So let's switch back over to this image. I'm going to hit the key number 2. And boom, there you go. We need to dial this in a little bit so we can get rid of our edges and stuff like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mask on this side to get rid of the stuff. So let's do a -12. Let's do 0. Oh, I'm going from the wrong direction. We need to do 12 on this side. There we go. So now we're here. And if I'm too big, we can shrink me. Let's do 0.5. And let's change my position here to 0. And let's do a -2, -4, -4.5. There we go. So there we go. So if this was a static image, we could just do this, and I got to be careful on where I stick my arms at because it's going to cut out. But if we were in here, and then I can go here and change the different verses and have that all behind the back of my head. Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who has made us and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter His gates into thanksgiving. Enter His courts with praise and be thankful. So yeah. So yes, this could be done, and this could be replaced with a static image as well too if you wanted to. So if I came back over here to my software here, instead of me saying that the screen back here would be the background, I could come over and say, hey, I want to use the eMissionary logo as my background. So I would just set that to this, and then I still turn on the key, and there we go. So this would be a static image that's right here, and hopefully that helps. So we just did that live. Yay. More detailed question there for you. So Streets of Destiny, hopefully that helps. Roger, hey AJ, what's the best ping and upload speed for streaming to Zoom and YouTube? Your ping, you want to have it as low as possible. Anything over, I think like 250, you're going to have some really bad latency, but I mean, you can't really control that. That's where you're streaming to. A ping is just a response back to if you ping Facebook and come back, see what that is. So like, so y'all get me doing some pretty technical stuff here today. I love it. So let me close this and let me show you what wonderful Comcast has for me here. Oh, my picture is still set this way. I'll change this. Just realize this was a custom stream. So if I change this, well, actually, no, that's 2. So that's good. I can turn that off and turn back on this one. All right, so let's go ahead and open up my command window here. Can we change the font size so everybody can see it? Let's do 28. All right, y'all can see that. So we're going to say, let's ping youtube.com. All right. So minimum, I have 17 milliseconds. Maximum is 24. So I think that's really good. I mean, that's very, very good. You start getting into the 200s and stuff, that's where it's going to be pretty slow, because that's how long it's taking for a response to come back. Zoom, I think that's different. I don't know the service that you can ping for Zoom, but I mean, if your speed like that is with YouTube, then I think you're fine. And upload speed, honestly, YouTube minimum, I would say 15 megabits per second, constant. Anything higher, I think that would be best as possible. Where we at? We got a lot of people talking, so my stuff has jumped here in my chat where we was at. Okay, I was on page 3. Robert wants to know, am I familiar with the Whirlwind ISOPAD stereo TRS to mono XLR balancer? Just from the name, I would say no. But let's look it up and let's see what that is. That is the Whirlwind ISOPod. And it didn't bring up anything here on Amazon. It just gave me a bunch of cables. Yeah, I am not familiar with that. Familiar with that at all. Back to G. Albert. AJ, when you showed the web page a few minutes ago, did you do something with the ATEM to place your picture in the upper left-hand corner while displaying the other view? I want to teach my team. That was just the picture-in-picture button on the ATEM. That's all I was pressing, with the preset position in the upper left-hand corner. So if I hit it now, it's just me pressing this button. That's what gave me that. And that's the picture-in-picture button directly on the ATEM that did that. The Chuck Taylor, completely agree. Do not get audio from DSLR. Robert saying a tech from Sweetwater suggested that. I'm wondering why. Let me see if I can search this and see what this is. Oh, okay. So this is what he was talking about. Mono to mono. But why would you want to convert it to mono? I don't know why that you would want to do that. I don't know. I mean, are you not sending a stereo signal to your live stream? I mean, I'm just trying to get an understanding from that. Back to Bishop Nesby. AJ, is there a way to get licenses for music from gospel artists to use for live stream, especially mime and dance ministry? I'm not 100% sure, because there's no centralized way to do that. I mean, there's a bunch of other people who you can get like musical tracks that give you a license to do that, but from the actual artists themselves, I am not familiar with that. I'm sure somebody should be doing that, because that's a very good secondary stream of income for some of these producers, artists, to bypass all the nonsense with that. But I am not familiar with any that will do that. Back to Rhonda. Using OBS, Zoom, and Facebook Live, is there a way to store both Zoom and Facebook comments in the stream? No. Facebook, maybe. Zoom, I think it's its own thing. So there's no way it can be stored in a stream unless you're capturing it separately. I am not familiar with a way of doing that. Back to the drum question, and Chuck was saying, and he should know, he's a radio guy. He knows audio very well. He actually taught on Dante and stuff like that at our conference, so he knows his stuff. He was saying recommended minimum of 5. So I'm glad I was close to what he was saying. The overheads, the toms, snare, kick, and floor tom. So yeah, I was saying just the kick and snare because I didn't know how many toms you would have, and as well as the overhead. But yes, awesome. Thank you for that, sir. Um, Detoxing for Life wants to know, what do you use to present church? PowerPoint. We still have our old projector and drop down screen. Um, well, we're getting ready to install some laser projectors right now, but what we present is, I mean, we're using Pro Presenter at my church to present the video and scripture and lyrics that way. I don't know if that's your question, and it looks like I am really behind in the comments. Let's try and speed this up a little bit so we can catch up to where everybody is. Okay, that's page 2, but y'all are at page 1. Um, Ministry Matters wants to know, what black magic cameras do you run in your church now? Which ones do you run for side views? I don't use any black magic cameras at church because that would have been a hassle. Because the black magic, there are no automated cameras, so all of them would need to be manned. I have black magic cameras here. I have the studio camera, 4K behind me, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera over here, and then I have the micro cinema camera as my top down over there. So that's what I use, all Blackmagic stuff here. But at my church, we use one PTZ optics in the back, an ADA imaging POV camera for a still shot, and then a SMT AV for a front PTZ shot. That's the only thing that I use at my church. Ty would like to know, which Synology model do you use? I have the DS918. Do you recommend Synology NAS to any of your clients? Yes, actually, I do recommend it. And I don't remember the model off the top of my head, but let me see. I thought I had a Synology app here. Let me just log in and tell you which. Can I do it from my network? Let me see. They'll tell me which one of these. Won't tell me that from here. So let me log in so I can tell you the exact model. And if y'all don't know, my first name is actually Arthur. So I love King Arthur and all that other stuff. That's where the round table comes from that we have on every other week. That's where that name mainly comes from. My networks are similarly called, Excalibur and Avalon, and I used to have the computers were called Lancelot, and I would go through all the other Knights of the Round Table for my stuff. So a little nerd notice about how I name my stuff here. So let me info center. All right, so one of the model. Okay, so one of my NASs is a DS418. That's, I think, for my personal stuff, music, photos, and stuff like that. And then the other one that's mainly for my data storage, and everything like that. That is no, actually I had it backwards. The 418 is what I'm storing right now, and the personal one is a DS216. I am looking to upgrade to the Ryzen based one that can actually have 6 ports in it. It's not necessary right now, but I feel most likely I'm going to move to that next year, or something like that. You never know. Maybe that fat dude in the red suit, maybe he might pop down the chimney and give me one in December. Hey, AJ, I saw that on your church OBS that missing files box pop up. Can you address that quickly? Yeah, that's just the new feature where if you have it referencing some other file and it's not present anymore, It just calls that out. That was actually a video that I used to use because I changed our beginning live stream video. I did that at church. So I just disabled the older one, and I actually just need to remove the reference. That's all that is. Back to Kenneth. AJ was thinking about changing to a PC with an Elgato Cam Link Pro installed. What are your thoughts? I actually did a system for a ministry in Florida with that. I think it works well. I just don't like the fact for the multi-view, input number one goes away, and that's what turns it into your multi-view. Actually, Stephanie did a review of that as well too. She actually is using that at her parents' church. So, I mean, I think it works great. I just don't like the fact that you have one of the inputs turns into your multi-view. But besides that, I think it works great. Back to G. Albert. AJ, you know, it would be nice for you to set up a session for those of us that want to do set up remote Chrome desktop securely the right way. Hey, sure. I know I did a video on how I did it at my church, but yeah, I will think about doing that maybe on a Facebook group or even as a dedicated one there. Ty was saying the OBS bot, I bought it after watching Monty's video. It's very small but functional. Awesome. So Carriers of the Covenant, there you go. You got a second endorsement for that one. Maurice, what do you recommend to get rid of hum? I would say I can actually disconnect this because I'm not using this right now. Hold on. I personally, for my ATEM, am actually using this. So I'm coming out of my Rodecaster here, and then going out into my ATEM. This is what's helped here. But right now, the hum that you're hearing is coming directly from the Rodecaster. So I'm going to turn it on, and actually I can't switch over to it without changing up something over here, so I don't want to do that. But I mean, this is what I use, and this was like $15. Oh, all right, we're back. Yeah, Mike is saying EPOS Vox has a video on the integration, so I'm gonna have to check him out. I really don't get a chance to watch that much YouTube as you would think. I watch a lot of stock stuff, Tesla stuff, SpaceX stuff, and that's it. Because that's normally I'm listening to it while I'm driving. So sitting and watching, I really don't do as much as I would like. Elkton Bible Baptist Church. Do you think there are any loss in sound quality in the ATEM Mini Pro by going from XLR to 3. Do you think that I'll have any audio loss going in sound quality in the ATEM Mini Pro by going from XLR to 3.5 millimeter jack? I'm shopping for a switcher right now. No, you won't, because that's what I was doing with mine for a lot. Right now, I'm going XLR to 3.5, and been working fine for me for years. Rhonda, I love my ATEM Mini Pro 2. We have SDI currently, and I understand that ATEM doesn't do 1080i. No, it does not. The ATEM Mini only does 1080p. Papa Midnight, I was wondering if you were going to be on. Roland is a good switcher. The V1 SDI is more expensive. I would go with the HDMI version, and works without a PC. I had one for about 5 years. Good switcher. Awesome. You know, the Pro Presenter is not the only one that has a lock on the NDI5 market. You can also use NDI5 with present. Yep. Yes, it is. That is very true. Let's see. Hey, Daryl from right up the street. How you doing, sir? Big Rod D was saying, "Hi, sir. Can I control the Zigo video conference camera 10x optical zoom 1080p USB PTZ camera for business, education, medical conference room conference with the P?" Yes, you can. It would be detected over USB and it will work with the software. Yes, you can. DJ Evergreen kind of is agreeing the same thing, that the V1 HD, that one I have used, is a great switcher, but it doesn't have streaming built in, so you still need a computer. Yeah, I mean, it works great. I'm not knocking them. I just think that Blackmagic has really spoiled a lot of us because they've added so many features inside of it. Daryl wants to know, he just got the A10 Mini Extreme. Congratulations. So I know I'm going to be getting a call from you pretty soon. But nah, I don't think it's difficult to set up. I have a couple of videos of how I set it up, and I know your setup. The main thing is, I mean, all of those inputs that you have from your cameras are just going to go into the ATEM, and then the ATEM, you can still leverage the DeckLink mini recorder that you have in your computer, or you can just donate or sell it to somebody else, and you can just have USB going from the ATEM Mini Extreme going into your system. And then that system can also have one of the HDMIs that are feeding the TVs that we set up before. That would just go into the ATEM, and the HDMI that's going to all the screens that you have throughout the sanctuary, that will come out the second output on your ATEM. So that would feed the house. Number one would be your multi-view. So pretty straightforward. All right, I think I'm caught up. We're on page number 1 now. Callie Nash. Hello. Does that mobile green screen has to be green due to the different clothing? No, it doesn't have to be. I mean, you just want to have something that you're not wearing. So green, I don't have nothing that's that color. Now, if I wore my Marine Corps shirt, that's kind of like a olive drab, I mean, I could still stand out, but it's getting close to the stuff that you would want to do. So if I was wearing green, I would do a blue screen or something like that. You just want to pick a color that's completely different than what you're using. No, Josh, I'm not trying to go to the moon. That is my desktop wallpaper because I have it stretching across all three. So the earth is actually, let me minimize these so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Always people want to play some jokes and stuff like that. So if I go to monitor this one that's on this side, you know, it's the earth right here. But then if I go over to all the way to the other one, it's the moon. So it's a wide shot across all of them. All right. So there you go. And we are using the BZB gear right here, which I forgot that I have plugged in. And I need to change the brightness because that thing is like just blasting. It's getting washed out because of the color. So let's go back to our regular one here. Back to G. Albert. I can only hope. Our ATEM equipment is at the church. Is there an ATEM controller emulator that you know of to allow me to gain confidence at home? No. Unfortunately, no. I mean, there's a bunch of nerdy ways you can do it. I mean, you can put the ATEM that's on the DMZ through your router. That way you get the IP address and then you're able to connect to it from home, but then that opens up some vulnerabilities in your firewall. The other way is you could make a private VLAN between your home network and the church's network so you can connect to it as if you were just another person sitting inside the church as a network. Or you can just do remote control Chrome desktop, and then you can control the computer that's running it. There's a couple of options there with that. Leslie here wants to know, hey AJ, a hyperdeck with an ATEM Mini Pro will let me record and have try alpha keying. Okay, I mean, so are you saying that you were trying to? I need to see how you were going to hook that up, because if you're doing the hyperdeck, you would have to have video out that would go into one of the inputs for the ATEM Mini Pro, but then the ATEM Mini Pro output would be going into the hyperdeck, so you would have a loop of a loop if you're not careful of what you have going on. I mean, but in theory, yes, it should work. Paul wants to know, can I run Worship Extreme free version for main hall screen, then run PPT NDI for lower thirds? No, not on the free one. You cannot. You would need that. You would need one of the higher versions for that. And that is to your second part of the comment on the same laptops or desktop. No, you would need one of the higher versions, not the free. Steven wants to know, I want to be able to display our church members' chat. What software are you using to display? This is vMix Social. It pulls from the stream and puts it as a layer that I can turn on and off on the stream. That's all in vMix Social. Now, I need to do a hack on how to do this with the free version, because I think the free version of vMix actually comes with vMix Social, I believe. So if I cut over here, and it actually does. So I don't have a license on this. This is the free version. So if I turn this off, so this is vMix Social. You would just click on this. You would have to log in. Let me take this off screen to log in. This browser is not secured. Oh, because this hasn't been updated. Yeah, you would just link to whatever. You would click on this. It would give you a login. You log in, pick your stream, and then it shows up. So I can't show this on my other screen. Actually, yes, you can. AJ, turn on NDI for that, and then everybody can see it. Where's it at? Where's it at? I need to put NDI 5 on this other system. All right, so I have Scan Converter on there now, so I can show you what that screen is doing. All right, so we got a second studio monitor here. We are going to connect to my streaming system. So this is what's going on over there. So vMix Social is tied to the live stream here, and it is engaging this scene right here, which is, again, it's a black background, and it's using that as a layer 1 through 4 and putting that over top of it. So if I hit this right now, see, it's engaging layer number 3 and puts this over top of it. So I'm picking what's my source. My overlay is number 3. That's what that number 3 is right there. What title am I using? That's one that's right here. That's what vMix Social is pulling from. And when I start the live stream, I have it as automatic, so it comes up automatically. Right now, it only turns on when I send the command to it. So anyway, I say all that to say that vMix Social is free. You could actually, now that I did this, let's do it this way. Let's go back to vMix that I have here. This is the free one, not registered, the one that you can download that's limited to 480p here. And then I could, first thing I would do is make a new input, and I would do a title, and I would do social and say I want this lower third, that one. All right, so we got that. And then I would open up vMix Social, and I need to update this so I can't point this to anything right now. So as you see, it picks up now. It's picking up the Deets Red as my title because that's the only one it can interact with. What layer do I want? Since this is the free one, you can only use number 1, but that doesn't really matter. And then I would point this, and then it would just fill out. And this is the web interface. This is what I'm looking at when I'm picking out all the chats and stuff like that. So if I drag this over here for a second, see, this is what I'm looking at. This is the web page that's showing me all of my chats, and I'm picking the one that would show up. So if I did that on this, see, this is what would show up. So let me see if I can show this to you real quick here. So I'm going to turn that off. And what would happen is, and this is how I'm doing the chat that y'all see, I would come in here, click on this chat, send, and that's how it shows up. That's how I'm turning this on. So I say all that to say that since this is free, what you could do, come over here to external. You would need to have output this over NDI. You can turn that on and then send this to OBS. So you could download vMix, use all the chat and comments, send it to OBS over NDI, and there you can have the same function. So I know that sounds overly complicated, but hey, that's how we do this stuff. How do you get stuff working as free as possible? So, awesome. Rhonda wants to know, most of y'all already know what my answer is going to be. What's the best free or least expensive Windows video editor? DaVinci Resolve. It is completely free. You might have to have a beast of a computer to run it, but it is free. That's what I use to do all of my video edits and everything like that. I mean, you could use Windows Movie Maker, but they've changed it now to where you have to do it all in one fell swoop, and you can't save it unless you have to pay for it. And I think you're restricted to 720p. Leslie, jump back here. We're going to be shutting it down here pretty soon. I went pretty long today because, like I said, I'm going to be not reachable for about 2 weeks. So let me get to where we're at. How long have we been going? Oh, we've been going for 2 hours, so we've been doing good. Sorry, I got pulled away from the live stream, and I missed your thoughts on my question. I mean, I was saying it can work, but you just got to be careful that you might have a loop of a loop, because you can have one of the outs from the HyperDeck going into an input on the A10 Mini Pro, and then the A10 Mini Pro's output is going into the HyperDeck, and you might want to be careful of not having an infinite loop of recording itself. That's what I was going to say. Ty, on the A10 Mini Pro and the A10 Mini Extreme ISO, what is a use case for the PVW button in the lower right corner of the output area of the device? Honestly, I've never used that. Let me see what it does. Okay, yeah, that's just showing you on my output from the HDMI, it's showing a preview for the HDMI input. That's what it's showing. So like if I'm coming HDMI out of into my old capture card on the system. So I'm gonna switch over to that now so y'all can see. So it's reversed because this is what normally would be for my teleprompter that used to be up here. That's why I was in reverse, because when it was in the mirror, it gets reflected back in the right way. So if I press that button now, it's on program. If I hit preview, and let me change the preview to the studio camera. So if I hit preview, see, it changes it to that. That's what that button does. So it's just a way for you to see that. I don't know of a use case with that, because that's I guess if you're not using a multi-view, I guess you can use that. But I mean, I don't have any reason why I would use that. All right, so now we're back to here. And that was strange. I don't know if y'all heard me or not. Yeah, I don't know. That's what that would be used for. Um, Bishop Nesby wants to know, what version of vMix are you using? What's the price range? I've tried to register our church, but because of our email type, we're unable to get a license. What do you suggest? Honestly, just put it in your own name. I mean, because you just need an email address and the license can be linked to the church. I'm using the Pro HD, the $360 version. That's what I'm using. I did get vMix Max for a month just to test it out, but I never got a chance to really test it out, so I wasted the month of it. But that's the one I'm using. Yeah, Carl, that's exactly one I was suggesting as well too. But I think somebody was just asking me how I would do this if they wanted to use vMix Social, because I think the H2R last time I saw it, it still could only pull from YouTube. It couldn't pull from Facebook too. Does vMix have a real-time countdown clock linked to a real-time clock that I can call from OBS? Just curious. I'm not sure. I've not tried that. I don't believe so, but I'm not sure. Sandra wants to know, is DaVinci Resolve user-friendly? I would think so. I have a couple of tutorials that I never finished off of getting started with DaVinci Resolve. But I just didn't really have a lot of interaction. That's why I didn't continue it. I think it is, only because you need to get the concepts of linear video editors, a non-linear video editor. Once you get those concepts down, you can go into any program that you want. I think DaVinci Resolve is very, very good, especially since it's free and it is very powerful. All right, so Rhonda, the only thing I would say about that, I understand where you said the 1080 the Roland was recommended to you. What I would do, I would have gotten one of these. This is an up-down cross HD, where it would take any input and convert it to any of these. So this is what I used to do at my church. When we had the old ATEM that only supported 1080i, I would run everything into this, and the 1080i that was coming in, I can convert it to 1080p out when it was going to our live stream. And you can use, I've used this on individual connections. This is what I did at Good Shepherd, where we had a signal, well, actually our Pro Presenter system, because we had a Decklink Mini, and it could only do 1080i. But then when we moved to the ATEM Television Studio HD, all of the resolutions had to be the exact same. So I put this at 1080p 5994, plugged Pro Presenter into this, and then it converted it to the right way. So something like this, and this is $155. This would convert this to whatever you need. So that was always an option if you wanted to go to something like that. Do you need a audio mixer to get audio into your Blackmagic ATEM Mini? No, you don't. I mean, originally I used to just have a microphone plugged directly into it, or just pull the audio from my camera. I'm using a mixer now, but you don't have to have one. Yeah, I think it went low because it dropped the audio, and it was pulling the audio from the capture card, which is coming from my ATEM where my audio is low. Right now, the audio you're hearing is coming directly from my Rodecaster mixer. My volume on the ATEM is not turned up. That's why it's so low. So my bad for that one. Kenneth, actually, yes, I do one-on-ones, and if you wanted one, you can hit me up at ajhomes.com/consultations. And I do it for about Zoom consultations are $100 for 45 minutes. Phone calls I think are $75. But yeah, I do those. Last question. My church wants to upgrade to laser projectors. Do I have to upgrade the pull down as well? I don't think so. But again, I don't know what you actually have. We're not upgrading our screens. What I am going to do is, because the aspect ratio in our projectors was 4:3, so I'm going to roll them up a little bit so it can be 16:9. Yeah, and actually this would be the last one. Most of the time most churches already have a mixer, but if they don't, I mean, like I said, if you're getting started, no, you still don't. But if you already have people with mics, your choir, your praise team, your musicians, your preacher or whatever, I would just pull off of what you're currently using, your PA system, your mixer or something like that you have. If you don't have any of those, you can just use a shotgun mic, just be environmental and just pull. And that could work. So again, a mixer is not required. It will ultimately help, but that will work. See, Josh, yeah, I was looking at the time too. I mean, my mouth is very, very parched right now, and I didn't have no water because I need to go to the grocery store. But since I'm getting ready to leave, I didn't really feel like buying groceries if they're just gonna be sitting in the refrigerator for a week. So, but anyway, yeah, back to what you were saying, Rhonda. Yeah, this would work because you can use the A10 Mini Pro and then plug this onto the end and convert the input of 1080p out to 1080i to whatever that you need, and that will work as well. All right, folks, I think that's it. My mouth is dry. I need some water. I need to get something to eat. I need to figure out what in the world Josh wants me to do for this ultimate meme challenge and stuff like that. I just want to kind of sit back on the background and just let Josh go. So if you haven't, folks, I really would appreciate if you go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the bell notifications. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos. Big, super huge, humongous shout out to my patrons that help make these videos possible. Their names on the screen right now, and you too can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. Or you can click the join button down below to become a YouTube member. And we're constantly doing more and more things to try and give back. And thanks for the members there. I actually, and why did my camera go out? Hold on. What happened? Where we at? Oh no, that was strange. Anyway, did I hit something on here? Oh no. Anyway, we try and give back and do some other stuff. So members and Patreon supporters and YouTube members, I actually just uploaded all of the conference videos from our For Me conference. They're already there. I'm going to slowly start releasing those. So for members and Patreon supporters, y'all can watch those again. If you already paid for a conference ticket, you can go to the website and watch it anytime you want to. What else am I forgetting? I think that's it, folks. Like I said, today starts my vacation. I am out of pocket until the 15th. And if anybody's in Dublin, let me know. I'd love to hit y'all up and visit your church or something like that, because I am going to be over there through a Sunday, so I want to kind of experience something different. But if not, I will see y'all. I'm probably going to, let me know, do y'all want me to vlog that or something like that? Because again, it's not really media ministry related, but this is a first international trip for me. So I want to document the whole thing if anybody wants any questions. Because I was watching some videos from people in Dublin, man. People were not walking around with masks or nothing. So I might need to stay away from some people. But anyway, y'all have a good one, folks. Thank you so much. And if nobody's told you, thank you for all the hard work that you're doing, the constant study that you're doing to help improve your media ministry, because it is important. If everything you do, all the hours that you put, if that's helping one more person hear the good message, then it's worth it. And that's what it's all about. We're helping share the message to other people we may never meet, and we're sharing the word digitally. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, folks, thank you so much. Have a great day, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you is all over the world. And we will see you in the next video. Later.